we will ignore whatever is going on with the hair because, I mean, we can only do so much. We're in quarantine here. So I did a poll on Instagram and asked you guys to basically pick out my makeup that I'm going to be using in today's video. The eyeshadows today that I'm going to be using are pretty bright. So I think I'm going to actually start with the eyeshadow. It should work out, but I mean, who knows? I'm going to prime my eyes with concealer. So the eyeshadow palette that everyone picked to use was this one. This is the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. I've used it in another tutorial. I think it was my Selena Gomez tutorial, which I will link up in the eye up above and in the description box below, but that was the video. It was the first time I used this palette. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do is I'm first gonna start off with the shade Catch Me, which is that light pinkish shade, and I'm just gonna run that through my crease. And I'm kind of like bringing it out, which is why I'm doing the eyeshadow first, because if I bring anything too far out, I can always clean it up with concealer. So I'm gonna mix these two and I'm gonna kind of run that through my crease as well. And these are super pigmented, so I'm making sure that I tap off any of the excess. Putting a majority of the color on the outer portion of the eye and bringing it in. I'm kind of putting it in the outer corner and dragging it out. I'm gonna clean off my brush a little bit and just use the same one to blend. I like the fluffy brush because it kind of diffuses everything. I'm gonna take a flat shader brush like that, and I'm gonna go into the shade Melody, which is this one right here, and it's like a shimmery, like copper shade, and I'm gonna apply that all over my lids. Pretty. I'm not bringing it all the way to the end of my eye. I'm probably doing about 2/3 the way because I'm gonna darken up the outer corner a bit. I think I'm gonna try wetting it because I want to see what it looks like wet. Take any setting spray and I'm gonna just spray my brush. It definitely brings out more reflex when it's wet, but I don't really think it's necessary. Like, I don't think you have to wet it. Bit of a like more detailed crease brush, but this I'm gonna be using on the outer corner just to kind of deepen up the look of it. I'm gonna take this shade called West Side, camel brown shade, because we have a lot of pink going on. I kind of just want to bring something a little bit more neutral back to the eyes, and I'm patting that on the outer corner. Then I'm going to take the same fluffy brush that we've been using and I'm going to just blend out the edges so that nothing's like harsh. If your eyeshadow is just like a little bit too blown out, you can take a pressed powder, face powder, any kind of powder. This one's the Milk Makeup one. And you can take it on a fluffy brush, tap off any of the excess, and use it to blend out the edges. It kind of diffuses the color. Next, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this shade Feel Free, which is this dark brown, and I'm gonna take it on a MAC 263 brush, and I'm gonna use that as eyeliner. I'm gonna kind of like do a small wing. So based on your suggestion for primer, everyone wanted me to do the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Light on clean hands, by the way. I really like this primer. It's good, especially if you have oily skin, because it doesn't have that super silicone-y feel. My face gets so red when I rub it, so apologies for that. So for foundation, everyone wanted me to use the Bare Minerals matte foundation. I have the shade Fair Ivory. Since it is a powder foundation, I'm actually going to be doing concealer and my cream products first. You know, nothing gets like jumbled up and mixed up. with the powder. So for concealer, everybody wanted me to use the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. Clearly, this is like well loved, and it's the concealer that I used to prime my eyelids for eyeshadow. See, I haven't used this in a little bit, so I hope that the formula isn't like too bad. I also don't think I'm completely the shade, but forgot how little you need. So obviously I look crazy because I just have like full coverage concealer and like it's not everywhere, but that's fine because I'm going to be putting a foundation over it, the powder foundation, so it's fine if it looks a little crazy now. So next we're gonna move into cream bronzer. Everyone chose to use the Physicians Formula Organic Wear Sculpting Bronzer. This was also, I used this for the first time in a First Impressions. I think it was my most recent video, the Chit Chat Get Ready With Me. I will link that in the eye and in the description box down below too. That was the first time I used this product, and it's a really good alternative to the Milk Makeup Bronzer. It blends well, it's really natural, and the formula is great and lasts a long time, and you can find it at the drugstore. So it's a good alternative. So I'm going to be taking just a buffing brush like this. This one's from Real Techniques, and I'm going to go straight into the bullet like this. Pick up some of the product, and I'm just going to start up here towards my temples. Again, building it up slowly I think is the key. Put it under the chin and on the jawline as well. I'm then going to take a smaller brush like this. This one's the Sephora Pro 57. And I'm going to go into the same bronzer, and I'm going to go under my lip, which creates the illusion of like a more poutier bottom lip. And then I'm going to kind of like pat it on the sides of my nose, kind of like going up to the brow. And I feel like it just gives like a little bit of definition rather than this side. So I kind of like blend it into the brow, if that makes sense, and I don't go all the way down. I then take the same sponge that I blended my concealer with, and I blend out the edges. So next is going to go into the powder foundation portion, which again, like I said, everyone picked the Bare Minerals matte foundation. I love this foundation. It's really good if you want like a natural lightweight type coverage. It's really buildable, so you can have very sheer light coverage, and you can build it based on the brush that you use. You can make it pretty full coverage. So I just take it into the cap like this, and I'm gonna just use like a big brush like this. And this one's from Sonia Kashuk. This one's really old, but I think they have a similar brush now. It's just with different numbers. And I take it into the cap, swirl, tap off the excess, and you buff it into the skin. Buff it in circular motions. I don't think that this gives me like a flat matte. Like you can still see like some glow coming in, and that's partly due to like my moisturizer and the prepping of my skin before makeup, but still it doesn't look cakey, it doesn't look heavy. I did not apply the powder foundation underneath my eyes. I think that the powder foundation, it will cover your under eyes, but I like to use something a little bit more lightweight, especially because I forgot how full coverage this concealer was, so it was a lot of coverage under my eyes, and I don't want it to look cakey. So you guys picked a face powder for me to use, and it was the Milk Makeup face powder. You guys know I use this in almost every single video of mine. I love it, and I'm just gonna put this underneath my eyes. So next is bronzer. Everybody chose the Kiko Milano bronzer. I picked this up when I was in Italy last summer. So I'm just gonna take a brush like this, get it in here. This is very pigmented, so be careful, you only need a little bit. I'm gonna take a smaller brush and go basically over the places that I cream bronzed. I'm gonna then just take a fluffy brush to blend everything out so there's no harsh lines. Next, for blush, the winner for this category was the Wet n Wild Color Icon blush in the shade Rosé Rosé Champagne. This is literally only hanging on by the sticker. I love this blush. As you can tell, I've hit pan on it. It's a gorgeous peach shade and it has some shimmer running throughout it, but it's not glittery and it doesn't make you look like, you know, like chunky glitter on your cheeks. It looks really pretty. I'm just taking it on a stippling brush. Move on to highlighter, and the winner for this category is the Essence Pure Nude. This is amazing, and if you guys haven't tried this out, you have to. It just gives like the prettiest glow, like very natural and subtle. I'm gonna go into the highlighter. I'm gonna press it in with my sponge so that nothing looks too harsh and that it's nice and melted. Okay, so now that we're done with all of the face stuff, I'm going to finish off my eyes with my lower lash line. I'm gonna run the shade Work It through my lower lash line. I'm gonna take the shade Catch Me and I'm gonna buff it over the shade Work It that we just applied. Buff it under my lash line to kind of blend it out. I'm gonna take my fluffy brush one last time and kind of just like blend out the edges. So next for eyebrows, the winner was the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade. And I haven't used this in a really long time, but it was well loved when I did use it. I still like my natural brows, so let's see if I can make them a little bit natural with this dip brow. Brush up my brows. One brow done. Now I need to do the other brow. I'm actually going to go back into the Essence highlighter, pick it up on like a pointed brush like this, and I'm gonna just like highlight right under the brow, put it on my inner corner. I'm also gonna take some right on my Cupid's bow. So I forgot to ask on Instagram what mascara to use, so I'm just gonna use whatever mascara I have around. The mascara that I've currently been loving lately is just my Maybelline Lash Sensational. So I'm going to curl my lashes, I'm going to apply mascara, and I'm also going to apply lashes. So although you guys know that I love experimenting with lashes, I've really been liking just using lashes that are cut into thirds and applying them just on my outer corners. That way it kind of looks more like feline and cat-like, and especially when you have hooded eyes like I do, full strip lashes can look a little bit heavy and kind of make my eyes droop depending on the lash. These are just like small lashes that I've cut into thirds, and I'm just gonna apply them to my outer corners. This is the look so far, but because I'm a terrible person also, I forgot to ask everybody what setting spray I should use, so I'm just gonna use what I'm comfortable with, which is the Neutrogena Radiant Setting Spray. A setting spray is key. It helps melt the powders, melt everything, and make it look make it look prime, make it look like your skin. So lastly is lips. The winner for lip product is the Flesh. It's like their lip compact. It'll be in the description box below, but it's in the shade Puffy. Do you see this shade? It is gorgeous. So I don't know like how well it will play on with the eyes, but we will see. So it's pretty pigmented, so I'm gonna just dab it. Then the winner for lip gloss was the NYX Butter Gloss, and this one was in the shade Creme Brulee, so I think it's gonna kind of lighten this up and make it look a little bit more nude, hopefully. I love the formulations of the NYX Butter Glosses though. They're very hydrating. They smell like cake. They're not like sticky or like gross. It's just one of like the best drugstore lip gloss formulations in my opinion. So this, everybody, is the completed look. You guys did this. Like, you guys picked this? What? Like, I'm honestly living for this. I don't know if like the lip color kind of clashes a little bit, but I don't even care because it just looks amazing. You guys killed it. Thank you so much for like interacting with me on my Instagram. I do a lot of polls on there, so go follow me on there if you haven't already. Glowy, it's not like super full coverage because that's just not my vibe. But do you see, like, you can see this glow from all the way back there. I need to set up a GoFundMe for my hair because, like, I don't know what it's doing, and honestly I don't know what it did throughout this whole video. I'm sorry you had to look at that mess of a hair. I appreciate every single one of you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope that everybody's doing well during this time. My prayers go out to you. All products and things that I used will be down in the description box down below, along with links. I link every single product that I use because I care about you. If you guys have any suggestions for other videos that you'd like to see from me, DM me on Instagram or leave a comment down below as well. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks guys. I'll see you in my next one.